Hi everyone, this is question number 5 of January 2022, paper 1. So the question begins by saying that write down the expansion of fx in ascending powers of x up to and including the term in x to the power 3. Give each coefficient in terms of n and a. So they have given us expression. So fx is equal to 1 plus ax to the power n, and they're asking us to expand this. So for part A, we have been given our expression, so which is 1 plus ax to the power n. And if you look at this, this is actually in the form of a plus bx to the power t, but since we already have a in the expression, so I will substitute a with c, so it is in the form of c plus bx to the power t, where c is equals to 1, b is equals to a, and d is equals to n. And since c is equals to 1, the expansion of c plus bx to the power d would be in this form. So it will be 1 plus d multiplied by bx plus d multiplied by d minus 1 divided by 2 multiplied by 1 multiplied by bx to the power 2 plus d multiplied by d minus 1 multiplied by d minus 2 divided by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1 bx to the power 3. They've asked us to expand till we get x to the power 3. So for the given expression, 1 plus ax to the power n, where where c is equals to 1, a is equals to b, and d is equals to n. So 1 plus d is equals to n, so it will be n. B here is equals to a, so it will be ax plus d is n, so it will be n multiplied by n minus 1 divided by 2 multiplied by 1, and b is a, x squared plus d is equals to n, so it will be n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2 divided by 3 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1, or you can write it as 3 factorial. B is equals to a x to the power 3. So this is the expansion for part A, but they have asked us to expand and give each coefficient in terms of n and a. So if I want to give it in terms of their coefficient, so 1 is actually the coefficient of x to the power 0. So we don't write that x to the power 0 is equals to 1. So it's that. And the coefficient of x is na, x plus, it will be n multiplied by n minus 1 divided by 2. And this will be a square x squared plus n multiplied by n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2 divided by 6. 3 multiplied by 2 is 6. This will be a cube x cubed. So it's a cube and x cubed. The coefficient of x cubed is n multiplied by n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2 divided by 6, a cubed. So this is the answer for part A. For part B, in the expansion of fx, the coefficient of x is 8 and the coefficient of x squared is 30. So find the value of n and the value of a. So they have given the coefficient that the coefficient that they have given us is the coefficient of x is 8, and the coefficient of x squared is 30. And we know from part A, from the expansion, the coefficient of x is actually NA. So the coefficient is actually a constant that is actually getting multiplied with a variable. So the variable in NaX is x, and so the constant which is the coefficient is Na here. So the coefficient of x is Na in our expansion, and the coefficient of x squared is n multiplied by n minus 1 divided by 2 a squared. So we can equate this. So the coefficient, we can equate the given and what we know. So from there, we can say that Na is equals to 8. When we use the coefficient of x, we have been given that given that the coefficient of x is 8, and we know from part A that the coefficient of x is n. We can equate this in this way. So we can say that A is equals to 8 by n. And using the coefficient of x squared, we have been given that we know that the coefficient of x squared is n minus n multiplied by n minus 1 divided by 2 a squared, which is equal to what we were given, which is equals to 30. So from here we can substitute a with 8 by a square with 8 by n whole square. So it would be n multiplied by n minus 1 divided by 2 multiplied by 8 by n whole square, which is equals to 30. So this would be n multiplied by n minus 1 divided by 2 multiplied by 64 divided by 8 square is 64, and this would be n squared, which is equals to 30. The n and n will get cancelled. So we have here, and also the 2 will actually, 64 is divisible by 2, so this would be 2, and this would be 32. 32 multiplied by 2 is 64, so this would turn out to be 32 n minus 1 divided by the n here is equals to 30. And if you write this, simplify it, or expand it actually, so this will be 32n minus 32n multiplied by minus multiplied by 32 minus multiplied by 32 multiplied by minus 1 is equals to 30. So this would be 30n. So if I cross multiply this will be 30n. And if I bring 30n to the left hand side, so this would be 32n minus 30n is equals to, if I bring minus 32 to the right hand side, this would become positive 32. So this would be 2n is equals to 32. So n is equals to 16. And we already know that a is equals to 8 by n. So 8 by n is equals to 16, so it will be 1 by 2. We got the value of a and n here. And now they are asking us to calculate the coefficient of x cubed in fx. So we know from the expansion of part A, in part A, that the coefficient of x cubed is n multiplied by n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2 divided by 6 a cubed. So part C, we know the coefficient of x cubed is n multiplied by n minus 1 multiplied by n minus 2 divided by 6 multiplied by a cube. So n we know is 16. So this would be 16 multiplied by 16 minus 1 multiplied by 16 minus 2 divided by 6 multiplied by a is actually, we know, half. So it will be 1 by 2 whole cube. So if you put that in your calculator, you will get a value of 70. So 70 is the coefficient of x cubed. Thank you.